All right. So today we're going to deal with Yerushalayim. We're going to talk about this over a few weeks so that we can begin to get some understanding on the fact that now that we know that we're Israelites and we know that we're his people, now it's time for us to know and understand that we have a place and we have a land that we're supposed to be in. So we're going to deal with this message over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. And we're going to start at the very beginning and walk our way up so that we can begin to understand what it is that we need to understand about our place and about our land and about all of the things that we've lost by being in captivity. And when we begin to understand all of these things, it'll give us a greater appreciation for the commandments of YHWH, and we'll begin to circumcise our heart, because truly the circumcision of the heart is when we keep his commandments. What we have here in front of us is a coin in about 68 AD, just when the Romans were about to do the revolt, and they were about to do something in 70 AD with the people of Israel, with the tribe of Judah. And this is a coin that they minted with the word Yerushalayim on it in ancient Paleo Hebrew. So that's what you see here on the front cover of this message that we're dealing with. So let's go from the beginning. Last week, one of the most important things or takeaways that we should have all took away with on last week. Anybody want to guess what that takeaway should have been? After watching the video, after seeing and what you saw on the video presentation last week, do y'all know what one of the main or the most important takeaways were? Anybody want to take a quick stab at it? Well, I know everybody.
I was just going to say that that we are the people. That's one of the biggest takeaways for me.
Okay.
It definitely confirmed that, and also that the Yiddish brew or the Hebrew that's over there is not it's Hebrew, but it's not our Hebrew per se, as far as the language.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful.
That was me. I mean, it's more to it, but I that's why.
That's it in a nutshell. That's good. Anybody else? Okay. One of the most important things, in addition to what Brother Leo said about last week's presentation, was that we were able to get a link between the ancient Sumerians and the ancient Hebrews. That was one of the most important links in regards to the presentation on last week, was that link between the ancient Sumerians and the link between the ancient Hebrews, that the ancient Sumerians were actually the ancient Hebrews. And he was able to link that up. One of the things that he showed us was this map. This here is the map of Sumer. This is the Sumen or the Sumerian map. And Sumerians, if you look them up in history, we see that they were the first civilization. It was like a civilization that just showed up on the map. And this civilization was ancient Sumer. And on this map here, I've highlighted 4 areas that you see: Kish, Adab, Lagish, and you see These 4 spots that were on the Sumerian map and on their cities that they had named these cities after were the same names and words that we see in our ancient Israelite people used. Kish, Adab, Lagash, and Ur. Okay, y'all see those 4 names highlighted there on the map. Kish was King Saul's father's name. And that's on the map in ancient Sumer. Adab was the priest of Aaron. Was the priest Aaron's son's name was Nadab. Same type of name. Lagash was one of the chief cities in Judah. It was named Lachish or Lachish. That was the place that Abraham came out of, but it was an ancient city of Sumer, which means Abraham had to be an ancient Sumerian. He was from that part of town, from that region, which means that's what he had to be. Because there's this argument that tries to separate or tries to say that the Hebrews are taking from the history or stealing from the history of the Sumerians and from the ancient Sumer, and that's just not true. Those were our people. So this links our history to the ancient Sumerians. The ancient Sumerians, they were called the black-headed ones. Remember, he said that in the video. And the heartland of Sumer lay between the Euphrates and the Tigris River in Mesopotamia. And this was the same place that the Garden of Eden was at. Garden of Eden was all in this region and in this particular area of ancient Sumer, which means Adam himself had to be an ancient Sumerian. Again, the argument between so-called scholars is that the Hebrews stole the ancient Sumerians' history. But we're not interested in nobody's history. We're only interested in our own history. And the scriptures declare what our history was. Starting at Moses. He was the one who gave us the history of what happened to the earth, what happened to the world, how everything was developed and how everything came about. What Dr. Lee Cummins did was show us that our fathers are in fact the ancient Sumerians or Sumerians. He connected the Sumerian ancient culture with the ancient Hebrew culture, and he made those connections with the maps and with the pictures that he showed in that film that he did, and he brought out the linkage between the ancient Sumerians and the ancient Hebrews, that they were the same people. This here, he showed in the video, was one of the oldest images of Abraham that we have. It's from the Dura Europa Synagogue in Damascus, Syria. And this is one of the oldest images that we have depicted of what Abraham looked like. In Genesis chapter 11, verse 31 through 32. Come on, Brother Leo, read that for us.
It's Genesis 11, 31 through 32. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife.
So Terah is the father of Abraham. Come on. What did he do?
And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years. And Terah died in Haran.
So what you see and understand is that Abraham came out of the land of Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. And that's how we're going to begin to understand Yerushalayim or Jerusalem. We're going to understand this better. And I should have told you a disclaimer. Today's message, I'm going to walk you up to where we need to be for next week. And I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger. So sorry, I got to do that to you. But we're going to begin to build on our understanding of this. And I don't want to give you too much too quickly. I want you to be able to digest this meal so that you'll be ready for the next meal to come. Okay. Abraham's story is in Genesis chapter 12, Genesis 11, and it begins to walk up all the way throughout Genesis 12, Genesis 25 or so. You can read about Abraham's story. But again, this is the oldest depiction of Abraham we have. By making this connection with the ancient Sumerians and with the ancient Hebrews, by making this connection, this enables us as well as all of our ancestors to trace our lineage all the way back to Adam the Sumerian. And we're going to look at some genealogies today, and you're going to see how they were able to chase their lineage all the way back to Adam. Even in the book of Numbers, they were doing their genealogies. They were making their records. They were labeling all the people and numbering the people, and so that they could know exactly who was with them, how far they had came, and they were able to trace their history all the way back to this ancient ancestor, this one single parent that we had, these two single parents we had, Adam the Sumerian with his wife Kava. Okay, so they was able to do that, and by making this ancient connection, that's how we're going to be able to take us back all the way back to Adam the Sumerian. Without this connection being made, we're trapped in one of our captivities, or we're trapped in somebody else's land. It's always Canaan land. It's always somebody else's land. We're either going to be trapped in the American captivity, the Roman captivity, the Greeks, the Persians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, or the Egyptians' captivity. If we don't make the connection that the ancient Hebrew Israelites were actually connected to ancient Sumer, it's going to leave us in captivity. It's going to lead us just talking about when we were in Egypt and when we were there, then the Father brought us out and then gave us the commandments. We'll start our history from that point, not going back further. This takes us by making the connection between ancient Sumer and the ancient Hebrewites, making that connection, it takes us back on the other side of the flood. That's why that was one of the most important connections that we saw in that video.
Amen. That's true. I would like to see.
Go ahead, brother.
I was going to say I would like to see that video again too, though. I'd have to make that find that link once more.
Okay, we'll make sure we share it to you. That's that. I think it's the Negro Question Bookstore.ecwig.com. But we'll definitely put it in our group chat so you can get it. Come on, Genesis chapter 3, verse 14. What did it say, brother?
And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
Now, we all know the story when the serpent came into the garden and began to tempt our brother and our sister, really our parent, Adam and Kava. He came into their environment and began to speak to them and talk to them and get them to do something that they shouldn't have done. And we know how that happens. And so this here is the curse that the Father put on the serpent. He said, "Cursed are you above all the cattle, upon every beast of the field." And he said, "Upon your belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life." So he gave the serpent a pretty harsh curse. This is the prophecy, though, that I want us to focus on. Come on, brother, what did it say?
Genesis 3:14 through 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
This is key for you to begin to understand why we have land and why we have a place and why the Father divided up the lands between Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Because of this whole idea of he was putting enmity between Yahweh's seed and the seed of the serpent. He was putting space, he was putting enmity against those two seeds, because those two seeds would be in the earth. And the seed of the woman would ultimately bruise the head of the serpent, but the serpent would also bruise the foot or the heel of the seed of the woman. And this is very important for us to begin to lay this foundation. The Father has always been into sanctification, being sanctified, being separate from the wicked. Enmity, H342. It means hostility and it means hatred. That's what enmity is. And the Father said he's going to put enmity between these two seeds, the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. He will put hostility and hatred between those two seeds that will be in the earth. Now, let's do for a moment the genealogy of Yeshua HaMashiach. And we're going somewhere. Just if you could stay with me, we're going somewhere. And where we're going, you're going to be absolutely amazed on how we got there. This is the genealogy of Yeshua HaMashiach. And this is very, very important in understanding how the link from where Yeshua was all the way back into Adam. And in the book of Luke, that's what Luke begins to declare. He gives his genealogy. Here is a summation here in Luke chapter 3, verse 36. Come on, brother, what did it say?
Which was the son of Canaan, which was the son of Arphaxad, which was the son of Sem, which was the son of Noah, which was the son of Lamech.
So he's given his genealogy from Joseph all the way back into these patriarchs right here. Canaan, Arphaxad, Shem, Noah, Lamech. Very important to understand. Come on.
Which was the son of Methuselah, which was the son of Enoch, which was the son of Jared, which was the son of Meliel.
Okay. Come on.
Which was the son of Canaan, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. So
now we know who the sons of Yah were. They were these group of people mentioned in the genealogy of Yeshua. And this is the genealogy of Yeshua. These were all the names that was recorded in the book of Luke. These will also be the names could be written in the book of life. These are the names and the genealogies of all of the fathers that brought us to Yeshua HaMashiach. And you can see all of the people lined up because these people would be the righteous seed in whom Yeshua HaMashiach himself would ultimately come through. And you can clearly see all the names, Yah to Adam, to Seth, to Enos, to Canaan, to Mahalalel, to Jared, to Enoch, to Methuselah, to Lamech, and to Noah. You see that? Shem, Arphaxad, and it goes on and so forth, letting you see Heber, which is Eber. That's where we get the word Hebrew from. He was the father of all of Shem's children. And then we have Abraham. Shem was the father of all of Eber's children, rather. And it goes all the way down to Abraham, goes all the way down to Jacob, goes all the way over to David, goes all the way over to Amos, goes all the way down to Joseph, then ultimately Yeshua HaMashiach. This is his genealogy, and this would be the ones who would have enmity against the serpent seed and the serpent descendants that would come from him in the earth. These are the ones that are in the family of YHWH. Those are the ones that would have enmity, would have this hatred, would have this contempt for the serpent seed. And this genealogy is not over, but it's still going because we're a part of this family. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
This is the Cain's curse, because we have to go back and look at what Cain's curse truly was and what Cain curse was truly all about. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 11. Come on, brother, what it say?
And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
So this was the declaration and the curse that was put on Cain. This was his curse for killing his brother Abel. He was the one that killed the righteous seed of the Most High Yah. He killed a son of Yah. Abel should have been a part of the family in the sense of having his life not being snuffed out. But because his life was snuffed out, there was a replacement that came, and that was the Seth was the son of Adam that came and replaced Abel. But nevertheless, this is the curse that the father put on Cain for taking that righteous seed and that righteous son's life. Come on, what it says?
And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden.
So now we see Canaan, after he got his curse, then he left out of the presence of Yahuwah, and he dwelt in a different land on the east of Eden. Come on.
And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch.
Now, what I want you to see, something. Come on, keep going.
And unto Enoch was born Arad, and Arad begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methusael, and Methusael begat Lamech.
So what I want y'all to see and want y'all to understand is that these names are going to be similar to the names of the sons of Yah. The names for Cain, which represents the serpent seed, are the same type of names that the sons of Yah had. Watch this, Genesis chapter 4, verse 25. This is Seth's genealogy. What did it say, brother?
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth. For God said, she had appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew.
Okay, so this is the other appointed seed because Abel was killed by Cain. Come on.
And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord.
Y'all see that? As soon as the righteous seed is brought into the earth, not even a generation goes by, now that son, all men now can begin to call upon the name of Yahuwah. This is the seed of Yahuwah that's in his people. It's a seed that's in us, and that seed comes from Yahuwah. As soon as that seed hits the earth, that seed begins to call upon the name of Yahuwah. It begins to seek him. It begins to look to him. It begins to trust him. Contrary to the seed of the serpent, that serpent seed wanted to do those three things: kill, steal, and to destroy, because that's exactly what Cain did. As soon as he came into the earth, he wanted to kill, steal, and to destroy his brother. Are y'all seeing this? Here is the Cain's genealogy, and here is Seth's genealogy. If you notice, Cain's names of his descendants, and look at the names of the sons of Yah, Seth's descendants, are almost similar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
And these are the two genealogies that's in the book of Genesis. Genesis 4 and Genesis 5. You'll see Cain's genealogy, and then you'll see Seth's genealogy. And the names are similar because Satan he ain't creative. He's just an imitator of the things of the Most High. Okay, so we see these two different groups of people in ancient Sumer. There's two different groups of people coming out of ancient Sumer. And we don't think about that when we read Genesis. We just go read the stories and our minds is not thinking about, well, what civilization was this? Well, what people was this? Who are these people? Because the scriptures never say Adam the Sumerian, Seth the Sumerian, Cain the Sumerian, Enoch the Sumerian. The scriptures don't say that. They just give their names. Are y'all following me? So these are Sumerians, and these are the genealogies of both of these groups, the wicked seed and then the sons of Yah, or the children of men and the children of Yah. Ancient Sumer had two civilizations. The first civilization was the Akkadians, and then you had the Sumerians. Now, sometimes Akkadian is spelled with two C's. It would almost look like Arcanians. Cain seed, Cain seed, Akkadians. Are y'all hearing this? And then we had the Sumerians, who were what? The sons of Yah. So we got the serpent seed, and we got the sons of Yah, the children of men, and the sons of Yah. We got them coming out of ancient Samaria. Cain seed, Seth seed, children of men, sons of Yahweh. The Akkadians lived in the north of Mesopotamia, while the Sumerians lived in the south. They were dwelling on the same earth, but they was not together. Very important to know and understand. North in the cold and south in the heat. Are y'all getting a picture here of what's happening in the very beginning? This is why we got to take our time and sort of walk up through here. Okay. Now, how do we know who the children of men that represented the Cain seed? Because there were three groups. There was Ham, Shem, and Japheth. We're going to find out real quick who the children of men were, because it seems like the scriptures mention Japheth's seed, and then you don't hear nothing about Japheth's seed no more until much, much later on. You don't hear much about the seed of Japheth, the Gentile. You don't hear about them in the early part of the scriptures like you do Cain's seed, right, and the Sumerian seed. You don't hear about them as much. Watch this. This is what the Tower of Babel was all about. I've been studying the Tower of Babel for years now, and I couldn't think of the reason why the Father was so upset with these people building a tower until today when I began to study this, and the Father just opened up my eyes and helped me to begin to see and say, son, it was never about the tower. It was never about how high they were building the tower. It was more about the people being one. What kind of people being one? Righteous people with unrighteous people. This is what the Tower of Babel was truly all about. It was about the separation of the righteous from the wicked. Are y'all walking with me in here? Watch this. Genesis 11. Let's read the story. Come on, brother. What it say?
And the whole earth was one language and of one speech.
Okay, come on.
And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there.
Come on.
And they said one to another, go to, let's make brick and burn them
Mute your
thoroughly.
phone, mute your phone.
And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar, the earth.
So this story is coming on in, and it's talking about they. We're going to find out who that they is, okay? It's the whole earth being one together, okay? Come on, what it say?
And they said, what? And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
So what we understand right here, because this is key to understanding what I'm talking about when the Father was interested in the righteous being in another place separately from the wicked. See, what we have to know and understand as the people of Yah is that Satan can influence the righteous. Remember, I told y'all about a clean glass of water. A clean glass of water represents the righteousness of Yahuwah, or represents his people being righteous. If I put a little drop of dirt, a little drop of oil, a little drop of dirt in a clean glass of water, and offer it to you, would you want to drink it? You'd be like, no, I don't want that, brother. You put dirt in it. That makes the whole glass dirty. A little bit. That's why it says it's a little leaven that leaveneth the whole lump. It doesn't take a whole lot. It takes a thought, a seed of a thought being planted in the mind of a righteous person, and then they begin to do unrighteousness, just like it was in the Garden of Eden. A little thought came in Eve's mind by the serpent talking to her, caused her to sin and give it to her husband, and he sinned, and now he broke what the Father had already set up. Just like if there's a glass of dirty water and I put a whole bunch of clean water in it, would you want to drink that? Absolutely not. No matter how much clean water I put in dirty water, you still ain't gonna want to drink it. Why? Because it's been defiled already. And the only way to deal with things that have been defiled is to either clean them up or discard them and get another glass or something else to use in its place. Are y'all hearing that?
Yes.
So when you read Genesis chapter 11, verse 4, this is Isaiah, where chapter 14, or yeah, I think it's chapter 14 or chapter 12, where Satan is talking about, I will ascend. I will ascend. I will be like the Most High. If I put my kingdom in the north, I'll be like I. It was all these eyes. He used about 6 eyes in that scripture in the book of Isaiah. This is speaking and talking the same way that like Satan was talking in the book of Isaiah. It says, "Let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." So Satan seemed like he knew and understood that the Father wanted his people to be separate from the other people on the planet. And Satan was trying to get a jump start to try to hinder that or to stop the plan from righteous people being separated from the unrighteous. Read what it says.
And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built.
Who was building it?
The children of men.
Wasn't the children of Yahuwah, but I'm quite sure they would be influenced by it. They were looking at what they were doing too. They were seeing what was going on, because remember, the whole earth was all one language, and they was about to bring the same wickedness that they did on the other side of the flood. They was getting ready to redo this wickedness and on a greater level. And so the Father had to come down, because this is now a national emergency. So Yahuwah himself was looking and seeing what these people what these people were up to, and he came down to see it, which lets you know, if he was able to see this back then, how much more do you know he's among us, seeing and looking at everything you do. I'm here to let you know Yahuwah is among us, and he's seen. He's been watching us for the last 6,000 years, watching what we are doing. So nobody's going to escape anything. He's watching. Come on, what it says?
And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
What did he say in the 6th chapter of Genesis? He said, every thought of the imagination of man was evil constantly. Now the people are one. There's a more larger group, it's more than just two people now. It's more than just Adam and Eve. There's a whole nations of people now. And all of these people are one, is speaking the same language. You can see how it's not talking about how tall they built the tower, or how tall they was building it. It's all about the people being one. And they all having one language. And nothing will be restrained to them that they begin to think about or imagine to do. That's why the scripture says that the heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it but Yah? Yah has to try the reins of the heart. Are y'all hearing that today? Come on, what it say?
Go to, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
This helps you to begin to understand why Yeshua spoke in parables. He said, let he that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying. In other words, he don't want the righteous hearing like the wicked hears. He don't want the righteous seeing like the wicked sees. Well, I'm preaching it. I'm preaching. I am preaching. Can I preach, somebody?
Come on.
This is why he spoke in parables. This is why he did the things he did. This is why he's confounded their language, so that they would leave off not being able to understand one another's speech. This is why he spoke in parables, because he set this up in Genesis chapter 11. He had to come down to confound their language, to stop the people from being one. He didn't want the righteous and the unrighteous to be one. There has to be a dividing point. There has to be a separation point. That's why it says, come out of her, my people. This is why he says, be separate, says Yahweh. The cup, he said, you can't sit at the table of devils. The children of Yah can't sit at the table of devils and sit there and smile and be happy about it. You're going to have to either choose to be at Yah's table or at Satan's table. Are y'all hearing this today? So he confounded the languages. He took the people out from hearing the same and understanding the same and walking in the same way. He came to confound their language. Come on, what it say?
So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city.
So here is the first time we're looking at this word scattered. He scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all of the earth, and they left off to build the city that would have made everybody one. He scattered them. So the scattering of the children of men, the scattering of the children of Yahweh, he got us away from the wicked folks. He scattered us abroad. He got us away from those that had unrighteous intentions. And know that this was Nimrod, and Nimrod was a descendant of Ham. This was his doing and what he wanted to do, because he was the one leading the earth in rebellion against Yah at this time. Because I told you, Japhet seed, you don't even see nothing about them till later on down. It's like they're not even talked about until later on down the line. Remember, he's talking about the time of the Amorites have not been fulfilled. This is all dealing with the seed of Ham. And Nimrod was a descendant from Ham. That was his seed building this tower of Babel. Come on, what it says?
Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
And so scattering is not nothing new to the Most High. This is why he told the children of Israel that if you disobey my laws, statutes, and judgments, I'm going to bring you back to those wicked people. See, this is the foundation here in Genesis 11. He's scattering everybody and getting everybody to be in their own spaces, into their own places, so that we can serve Yahuwah. The sons of Yah can serve Yahuwah in the beauty of holiness without fear. But he said, if you disobey my commandments, those nations that I scattered out there, I'm going to bring you under their authority and their rulership, and you're going to be subject to them. And you're not going to like to be subject to wicked folks, because wicked people going to do all kind of bad things to you. That's the whole thought of what salvation is all about, to being saved from your enemies and from all of those that hate you. That's the word enmity. The ones that hate you are Satan's seed. And he has put enmity between the sons of Yahuwah and the children of man. Are y'all hearing that today? Are y'all getting something what I'm saying today? So Yahuwah had to scatter the children, the sons of Yah, away from the wicked children of Satan. But he said, I'll bring you back. That's what he told the children of Israel. He said, listen, if y'all don't obey and do all that the Father say, he's going to bring you and put you under the wicked people's rulership and control, and you ain't going to like it. You're going to be crying out to me to save you from your enemies and from all of them that hate you. Is this making sense so far?
Yes, sir. Amen. Amen.
Okay. So the Tower of Babel, it means confusion by mixing. Confusion by mixing. In other words, if you're righteous, what are you mixing with the unrighteous for? That's confusion by mixing. Righteous folks shouldn't be in the same region area where the unrighteous is. Neither should the unrighteous be in the area where the righteous is. So Babel literally means confusion by mixing. This is what the issue was with Samson. Samson wanted Delilah, didn't he? Well, Delilah shouldn't have been the kind of woman he wanted, and his father was trying to talk him out of that. But she was so good looking to her, so gorgeous to him. She had the hips and lips and everything else. And what happened? Samson ran after that woman, and that instead of that woman being for him, she ended up getting him an appointment at the barbershop, finding out the source of his strength, cutting his hair. Are y'all hearing this? Righteous people shouldn't be with unrighteous people. And the sooner we learn that and understand, that's what Yahuwah has been saying from the very beginning. This is why he put enmity between Yahuwah's seed, the woman's seed, and the seed and the children and the serpent seed, the children of man, because he doesn't want them to be together. He put enmity, which is what? Hatred and hostility between those two seeds. Can I preach in here?
Oh, do it. Come on.
Mixing unrighteous with righteousness is something that Yahuwah is not going for. He didn't go for it then, and 6,000 years later, he's not going for it now. This is why you have to be separate, says Yahuwah. And Paul, Apostle Saul, understood this with his letters. You can't drink from the cup of Yahuwah and from the cup of the devils at the same time. You can't do that as righteous people. Ancient Sumer, Genesis 11:31, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. I told you I'm going to leave y'all on a cliffhanger. So here we go. This is why he commanded Abraham to leave the Ur of the Chaldeans, because those people had begun to corrupt themselves because they was hanging around the wrong people. So he said, come on, let's get away from these folks, Abraham. I'm going to take you into another land, into another place. Come from out from among them, because people that are righteous can be corrupted by people who are unrighteous. That's why the Apostle Saul said evil communications does what? Corrupt good manners. When you're around people that speak the wrong things all the time, it's going to begin to affect your behavior as a righteous son of Yahweh. This is the whole reason why there has to be a new heaven and a new earth. And this new heaven and new earth ain't nothing going to be but righteous people in there. Boy, I'm preaching it here. I'm making connections. I'm trying to help y'all to make some connections today. Hallelujah. Why was it called Canaan's land? See, we can't even get to Yerushalayim and Jerusalem. We can't even talk about that until we begin to understand the things that I've just went over. We won't even understand Jerusalem and how that even makes sense. Why did the Father want a land for us? Why did we were separated? Why did he want the Jews knew that? It was in the culture that they never had fellowship with certain things. Remember, even the woman at the well, she said, we don't have fellowship with ones who call themselves Yehudim. We don't have fellowship with y'all. The Samaritans don't have fellowship with y'all. I'm a woman of Samaria. You asked me to give you something to drink. Y'all remember that conversation in the 4th chapter of John? The separation is real. Okay. Why was it called Canaan's land? Why was it called Canaan's land? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. In order to understand this, we have to go to some extra biblical text. The book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees will begin to help you to begin to understand why this land that the Father is about to give Abraham as an inheritance, why it's called Canaan's land. The book of Jubilees, chapter 9, verse 14. This is the oath that the sons of Noah took after they came off of the ark, that they would not or never seize each other's land. What are we dealing with right now with Russia and Ukraine? Russia wants the land of Ukraine. This here is an oath that the sons of Noah took, that they would never seize each other's land. Ham is never supposed to seize Shem's land. Shem is not supposed to seize Japhet's land. Japhet is not supposed to try to seize Ham's land, on and so forth, because everybody had their own land and their own places where they were. Come on, Jubilees chapter 9, verse 14. What did it say, brother?
And thus the sons of Noah divided unto their sons in the presence of Noah, their father, and he bound them all by an oath, imprecating a curse on everyone that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by his lot.
Now, y'all seeing that? Y'all understanding that? This is how serious your area is supposed to be. You ain't supposed to be trying to come over to my area. You're supposed to have your area, and the unrighteous is supposed to have their boundaries, and the righteous is supposed to have their boundaries. Okay, that's why we have so much confusion today. A place called America.
That be why different hurricanes and earthquakes things happen.
Because all of these people they call us a melting pot, where everybody's just melting pot, and there's all kind of what they would call religions and all kind of beliefs and all kind of different kind of understandings and all different. If this continues on going on, do y'all know what's going to begin to ultimately happen? It's going to be the complete degradation, the complete falling away, the complete, where even it'd be hard for the righteous one. That's why he said he had to shorten the days, because all flesh would die, all flesh would be consumed. So he has to shorten the time and shorten the days. And he's doing that in his mercy and his love for us. What'd you say, brother?
I said, could that be why America is called Babylon?
There we go. Babylon the Great. Confusion by mixing. Come on, what it say?
And they all said, so be it for themselves and for their sons forever throughout their generations to the day of judgment.
This was the same thing the children of Israel when they was on the mount and they heard all the things that Yahweh said and spoke. And they said, all that Yahweh has declared and spoken, we're going to do it. This was the same thing Ham, Shem, and Japheth did. They said, so be it. Whatever the Most High is telling us and declare, and the lands that we're going to get for ourselves and for our descendants, we're going to stick to that throughout all of our generations to the day of judgment. Look how many people, and look how those groups, those three sons, have not kept their word, even to this day. Come on, what it say?
And on which the Lord God shall judge them with a sword and with fire for all the unclean wickedness of their errors, wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression and uncleanliness and fornication and sin.
Okay. Now, this is getting down to the heart of the matter in Jubilees chapter 10, verse 27 through 31. It's going to start talking about them going after and going and moving into their new divided lands from one another. We're about to learn something very interesting and very important, and we're going to close out with this. Come on, brother, what it say?
In the fourth week, in the first year, 1688 A.M., in the beginning thereof, in the 34th Jubilee, where they dispersed from the land of Shinar.
All right, come on.
And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired at his portion in the land of the south.
Okay, so this was Ham's land. His land was the land of the south. Come on.
And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, and that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward, from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea.
So Canaan, which was a descendant of Ham, he saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that was very good.
Mm-hmm.
But what is he doing? What commandment is he breaking?
He's
Anybody?
breaking the boundaries.
What commandment? The 10 commandments, which one is he breaking?
He's coveting.
There you
I
go.
cannot cover. Mm-hmm.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Because he saw that land, he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west. He's supposed to be the west coast of Africa. That's where Ham's supposed to be. He's supposed to be by the sea down there. But instead of him going down there, he's going to this other place where the rivers of Egypt are. And he's dwelling in that land. Watch what happens. Come on.
And Ham, his father, and Cush, and Mizraim, his brothers, said unto him, Thou hast settled in a land which is not thine, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so. For if thou doest do so, thou and thy sons will fall in the land and be accursed through sedition.
So his brothers, his fathers, Egypt, which is Mizraim, his brothers, all of them said, what the heck are you doing, man? You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do this. And if you do it, you're going to fall, man. You're not going to succeed with this. Don't you remember what our fathers made the oath?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
For by this sedition ye have settled, and by sedition will thy children fall, and thou shalt be rooted out forever.
So this is where we are. This is what is taking place. Come on.
Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did it come by their lot.
Come on.
Cursed art thou, and cursed shalt thou be beyond all the sons of Noah, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge, and in the presence of Noah, our father.
Remember, they said, so be it, so be it, so be it. We want to go into our land and have our land. But Canaan thought otherwise. He said, I'm going to take a portion of land that don't belong to me and do that. But his brothers and his fathers, everybody's trying to warn him of what's going to happen and what's going to take place. Come on.
But he did not hearken unto them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon from Hamath to the entering of Egypt, he and his sons until this day. And for this reason, that land is named Canaan.
Woo! Now we got some understanding of why he was told to come out of the Abraham, who was a descendant of Shem, who was part of an ancient Sumerians of the children or the sons of YHWH. Now you can see why the father said, I want you to go into this land. Abraham may not have known what had happened and what had took place way back then, but YHWH did, because YHWH is watching. He's looking. He's been watching and looking, and he's been among us all this time, watching and looking. That's why you would never recognize him. He may, he probably that man with them jeans on with that hat pulled down. You would never know him. But he's watching and he's looking and he knows what's going on and he knows what's happening. And in the time of national emergency, he comes down. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 9 and 10. Come on, what it says?
And by faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had foundations, whose builder and maker is God. So that lets you know Abraham was sojourning in his own land as a stranger, because it was taken by another group of people that it didn't belong to. But YHWH over and over and over and over and over declared, I have given that land to you and to your descendants forever. And this is why he's going to call us out of captivity and put us back in our land. I feel like preaching. He gonna do it. He gonna do it. That's why he says, I'm going to prepare a table in front of you in the presence of your enemies. Shabbat shalom. How many people got something out of that today? Yes.
And we're just building now. We're just building, because we can't get to Jerusalem until we begin to understand these foundational things. So the Canaan land was named Canaan land because he stole it.
Yeah.
Now y'all know that's off the chain. Y'all know that's off the chain.
That is.
He stole it.